did not think that there was some white male, blue-eyed, blonde-haired God sitting up in heaven all by himself. Our ancestors felt that the deity ought to have a spouse, and they each had their own responsibilities. So here you see a Tsar, and he's sitting on the throne because he's in the spiritual realm. Behind him is his wife, Aset. She wears the throne on her head because, sisters, in order for him to rule, he had to come through her to sit on the throne.
That's right.
That shows the balance between the African male and the African female. He was her executor or agent, and she was the power behind the throne.
And not only the power behind the throne, she was the representation of all manifestations, meaning that there would be no throne. There would be no man, there would be no sea, there would be no air, there would be no plants, there would be no seeds. If it was not for the universal uterus that we know as ra0 that produces all of these elements, she produces all of the sustainment components of life. The overall, that which encompasses all universal uterus is known as ra0, also known as the goddess Aset. So that means that any manifestation that's available to be used by anyone had to come from the woman who brings all sustainment to the earth. And so if there has to be a God, there has to be a goddess, and there has to be a goddess. It has to be a goddess that birthed a God, and it also has to be a goddess available for the God to marry and get sustainment from. So see, this goddess thing goes on forever. If the goddess thing stops, the God thing stopped. And by the white man eradicating the whole goddess emphasis, we ended up with a world full of decadence that we must return to. And I mean, that we must get the hell away from. And the only way we're going to return to our God selves is that we got to return our black women to their self-awareness of their goddess self. Until that happens, we just going to be blowing smoke out our ass.
Now, Aset had many names. She was considered to be mistress of the throne, the divine one, the queen of all the ra0, queen of the south and north, lady of the great house, and even the green goddess. And I
showed you that picture, the green goddess. And then when they had the green goddess, they showed you a picture of a Tsar daughter, Ma'at being white, to prove to you that a Tsar is the original father of everyone on the earth. Everyone, including you white people.
Goddess, she was known as Mut-Netchet. And what is Mut-Netchet? None other than Mother Nature.
Mother Nature, that's
And so
right.
you always see her with the throne on top of her head. We'll go to her temple in a few days.
Look at it, and you see the goddess Tsar up there. Everywhere you look and you see her, you're going to see her have her black man with her. Not no white man. You see that hat? That's the black goddess Tsar. It ain't freaking Abraham Lincoln or Donald Trump or Jesus. Look at these temples that we built way before white people was even on earth. Now they come out here and steal all this knowledge and try to claim it for themselves. Even all the Catholic churches that you see, you can see the two pillars on all of them. Okay, even on at the Basilica, you can see how they stole this stonework and this knowledge. Look at all this ancient stuff that we have that they'll come and tell you aliens built it. And then they're going to lie about our accomplishment right here and hide this from the world, that this is the smart, wise people that we are. And since they hid this information from those black women who sitting out there thinking that the white man ain't a threat, because they don't know that we have this type of history behind us, they don't know shit. And that's the reason they don't know that the white man is so detrimental. Look at this. You see how it goes down in the V? You see? Do you see all the universal uteruses? This door right here, if this camera stood right in front of it and took it, you'll see this door has another door behind it. That's representation of infinity. That's what that was. You can see the phallus right there. Dicks and coochies everywhere. Because they knew that it was those sexual organs that permeated and reconstructed and regenerated all life.
And that is the temple of Aset, Philae. And when we see it, we're just going to be looking at the skeletal remains of that temple. And we can just imagine how beautiful it might have looked in its heyday.
Look at it.
But Aset was the one who possessed the words of power.
And then here she comes. She can speak incantations into the wind and make it change right away. Her and her goddess Tsar is the ones who had the power to do that, just like I had the power down on earth. But I live on a planet where no one wants to recognize, you know, Mr. Whatever, we don't have anything to say to you. That's all right, because I'm going to burn, flood, shake, rattle, and roll all y'all asses because of your stupidity. This woman sitting right here suckling her baby all of a sudden becomes Merri. Okay, and then Merri end up not even suckling Jesus half the time. He's ran off by himself because the world is so damn patriarchal. But this is where it all started, with the goddess Aset and her son Haru, that later became Merri, and Jesus, who after a while didn't need sustainment from his mother because he's supposed to be the self-sustaining man. But even the self-sustaining god Asar knew how important it was not to kick his women Aset and Nephbet out the picture. If anything that got kicked out of the picture, it would have been Asar. They always represented and recognized this woman for her greatness as the goddess of the universe.
And that brought Asar back to life, because what she said was delivered in such a certain tone, rate, and deliverance that none could resist her command. So therefore, Aset was associated with Seshat. Now, Seshat, we said, was the female scribe and historian. And this indicates that recording and vocalization of words were feminine functions. So even back in the day, brothers thought the sisters could really talk.
And listen, it's not that we just thought that they could talk. What we did is we revered their talk. We wanted them to talk because they were our educators. So it wasn't like today when you get the white man push his lady around and tell her, shut up, be seen, don't be heard, be seen and not heard. All that shit that has destroyed our world, okay? We never did that to our women. We knew that our women were smart because they had divine connection with the sun. The fact that they had to hide the sun as being the source of sustainment mean that they also had to hide the greatness of the woman. Now here she is now, she can walk around and be nothing, all right? And then they teaching our women to be stupid because they go to their schools and learn about Jesus when they should be getting educated from their observation of nature and talking to the sun. That you can see it's turning all the lights green like I told you they would. Okay, it's getting ready to go down. I'm going to turn it up. It's got to, because this ignorance is not leaving the earth fast enough. And you know what? All this those push about the Vatican under indictment and all that, it still ain't moving fast enough, because it shouldn't just be the Vatican. It should be all these churches. They talking about they're going to seize all assets. They seizing all assets for Europe. They can watch. They're going to try to get out of paying any of that money back to America. They're going to own West Angeles Church. All these churches that you black people think y'all own, that's owned by the Catholic Church, you watch. Heads get ready to roll. You're going to be messed up when you see what a fool you'd have let everybody make out of you by making your women become dumb. Most of the members that sitting up in West Angeles Church, giving it its fullest, greatest amount of sustainment, is single women that can't have a black man, because don't no black man want your crazy ass, because you so in love with the damn white man that's kicking our ass all damn day.
And Seshat, we said, was the one who invented writing, while Tahuti was her counterpart, and Tahuti taught writing to the world. And you always see Seshat with her pen because she's going to record the deeds of the king. Scribes were called Sesh. They were named after Seshat. And here you have Amenhotep, son of Hapu. He was called a Sesh, named after Seshat. Her headpiece.
And that name Hapu, I find that name amongst so many Tongan people, it's crazy. When I lived in Hawaii, I met a whole lot of people named Hapu. Okay, but then they sitting up with African names and shit, but they want to throw away their African descendants. Okay, I'm not black. I've never been to Africa. I'm like, you about a stupid. Why would you let somebody who comes out of nowhere, out of the snow, come out of the frozen snow and make you think it's something wrong with you being from Africa, when you should be able to figure out, if your ass came out of the snow, you the one who was more than likely to be a damn cannibal. Okay, so don't walk around trying to savage Africa and make it a bad place and make everybody that's from there think they have something to be ashamed of, you know? When your ass is the one who came out of the damn snow from eating frozen ass aunties and uncles and little nieces and nephews.
This seven-pointed star was called the Sefek Ubi. It means she who wears the two horns. And so
that would be the goddess Hathor or the goddess Aset or Heteru. All three of them, according to their attributes, is the same thing. Watch.
Her headdress was also her symbol in Merri. And it was considered to be a magic wand. And the star was the symbol which represented the source of all creative ideas.
Star Sirius,
so
I think.
that was where Europeans got the idea of the fairy godmother with her wand.
See there?
That came from the 7-pointed headpiece on the star of Sheshet. So after we were there at the temple, part of it was even dedicated to Sheshet. And we see her here with Ramesu.
See, the thing is that most of these goddesses are the same goddesses, but they play a different role according to what attribute they're going to give to them. Because as you can see, here's the goddess Sar with the lady Sheshet. Okay? Okay, from the second dynasty onward, Sheshet helped in the laying of the foundations of temples and the ceremonies known as stretching of the cord, the mason line used to measure the limits of a building. She was known, see, that shows you the mason line, the tape measure come from Eve. Well, we know that when you can see the structures that we built. The plumb line is straight, the tape measurement, the freaking square, everything that's necessary for building trade all came from ancient Kemet. These white, you can see it right there. These white men that came, stole all our knowledge from us, double crosses with their dirty ass, and enslaved us and messed up our women's minds. That's what they, and till our women's mind gets. See, look, when they went in the temple, they hated the fact that these faces of the women was on the wall and that they were obvious melanated. So they went in there and painstakingly took things and broke the faces off so you couldn't see that they were black people. They didn't want you to see the big noses and everything because they wanted you to believe that all this knowledge that's on the earth didn't come from us because the bastards learned from us and then enslaved us and tried to hide our unique God genius from the whole world by tearing up all our accomplishments.
Sheshet, as Ashra mentioned yesterday or the day before, was mistress of the house of architects. So she helped to lay the foundation for the temples. And our Sheshet, because of her recording and vocalization and because of the writing of the deeds, that's why we gave Sister Ife the name Sheshet, because the sister's looking over the scroll and trying to decide if the words that I wrote about her were correct.
Oh my God. Here we go with this shit.
Mistress of the throne, the divine one, the queen of the great house, and even the green goddess. And as the green goddess, she was known as Mother. You always see her with the throne on top of her. We're just going to be looking every day. But Aset was the one who possessed in deliverance that none could resist. So even back in the day, brothers thought, scribe and historian. And this indicates that recording and vocalization of words were feminine functions. So even back in the day, brothers thought the sisters could really talk. And Sheshet, we said, was the one who invented writing, while Tahuti was her counterpart, and Tahuti taught writing to the world. And you always see Sheshet with her pen because she's going to record the deeds of the king. Scribes were called Sesh. They were named after Sheshet. And here you have Amenhotep, son of Hapu. He was called a Sesh, named after Sheshet. Her headpiece, this 7-pointed star, was called the Sefek Aubi. It means she who wears the 2 horns. And so her headdress was also her symbol in Meru Neter. And it was considered to be a magic wand. And the star was the symbol which represented the source of all creative ideas. So that was where Europeans got the idea of the fairy godmother with her wand. That came from the 7-pointed headpiece on the star of Sheshet.
And see, that's also, I'm sure it has something to do with the 7 cosmic forces, because all of the cosmic forces are female. All 7 of them, they're all female. So I believe that thing being over her head, see it right there? You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up over the top of her head is a representation of the 7 cosmic forces that come in with the goddess Sar. Because look, you can even see the X in there. Do you see?